Welcome to Unit 8 of the CLPNM Jurisprudence Education module. In this unit, we will review the standards of practice and conduct related to leadership. Leadership is the process of influencing people to accomplish common goals. The attributes of leadership include self-awareness, commitment to individual growth, presence, reflection and foresight, advocacy, integrity, being open to new ideas, and a willingness to try to guide and motivate others. Leadership is not limited to formal leadership roles. Anyone can have a positive influence on others, regardless of their former role or position. There are 12 standards in this category. Note that in this unit, the standards related to leadership are not shown in numeric order. We've rearranged them in a way that helps facilitate the discussion. Leadership involves using judgment and critical thinking when supporting, supervising, and delegating client care and making appropriate decisions about resources. LPNs use these competencies to meet their leadership standards when supervising other staff, including unregulated healthcare providers, as so many LPNs do. Note that the CLPNM, in conjunction with Manitoba's two other nursing regulatory colleges, has developed a practice direction on assignment and delegation to unregulated care providers. This document is available on the CLPNM website. Leadership also involves sharing and inviting feedback from members of your team. This contributes to your continuing competence and the collective competence of the team. Please pause the video, review this scenario, and consider which leadership standards were most exemplified by the LPN. When you restart the video, I will discuss the scenario. Leona demonstrated several of her leadership standards in this scenario, including Standard 57, which states that practical nurses exercise professional judgment and critical thinking when assuming a charge role, and when supporting, supervising, and delegating to other healthcare providers, family members, and students to ensure care is client-centered, is provided as per the plan of care, and is provided in accordance with institutional policies, protocols, and guidelines. She's also demonstrated standards number 55, 58, and 59, and 61, which together state that practical nurses show leadership in practice when they effectively and efficiently coordinate human resources, understand when to lead and when to consult others, act as role models and resources for colleagues, and advocate for safe, supportive, and respectful practice settings. Leona exemplified leadership by using good professional judgment, critical thinking, and leadership principles to ensure that the staff on the unit were supported to provide the best client care possible under the circumstances, and that the clients on the unit would be cared for in a safe, competent, and ethical manner. Please pause the video, review this scenario, and consider which leadership standards were most exemplified by the LPN. When you restart the video, I will discuss the scenario. Like Leona, the LPN in our previous scenario, Brandy is demonstrating how to meet Standard 57. Brandy exercised professional judgment and critical thinking by supporting a student practical nurse, Dakota, thus ensuring safe and client-centered care. Brandy was also demonstrating Standard 59 by acting as a mentor and resource to a learner within her practice environment. Leadership also involves advocacy. Advocacy means acting on behalf of another person, speaking for persons who cannot speak for themselves, or intervening to ensure that views are heard. Advocacy requires that you have a strong awareness of the context in which situations arise, as well as an understanding of the influence of power in politics on how you make decisions. There are individuals and groups within Manitoba at greater risk, more vulnerable to abuse or disregard of their rights. It is important for nurses to consider these vulnerable populations to ensure that their rights are respected and that in all contexts, nurses should advocate on their behalf. Some of these populations include older adults, Indigenous people, those experiencing homelessness, mental illness, and those of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and two-spirited communities. Challenging racism and discrimination are also an integral part of demonstrating leadership in nursing practice. One strategy for challenging racism and discrimination is being aware of your own biases and taking action to ensure they do not interfere with safe and ethical nursing practice. A bias is a quick mental association or shortcut used to understand the world. Everyone has biases, and they are often unconscious. Biases may be based on race, gender, age, sexual orientation, mental health status, and many other characteristics. Unchecked biases may create feelings of unwelcomeness and distrust amongst nurses, clients, and others within the healthcare system. These unchecked biases can lead to a culture that compromises the quality of nursing care and the quality of therapeutic and team member relationships. For example, unchecked biases about a client may lead to overlooking necessary questions during nursing assessment, resulting in a non-inclusive, incomplete, or lack of nursing care. Nurses must be willing to recognize and address their assumptions, beliefs, and judgments, self-assess their verbal and nonverbal behaviors, seek feedback on behaviors, and look for resources to increase their knowledge of vulnerable and marginalized populations. An essential element in nursing leadership is the ability to understand the issues facing vulnerable clients and advocating on their behalf. Vulnerable clients are those who are likely to develop health problems as a result of excessive risks, those who experience barriers when trying to access health services, or those who are dependent on others for care. Frequently, clients in vulnerable circumstances come from a variety of cultures, have beliefs and values different from the mainstream culture, face language barriers, and have few sources of social support. To effectively meet the needs of vulnerable clients, nurses must make great efforts to understand their clients' lives. Please pause the video, review this scenario, and consider which leadership standards are most exemplified by the LPN. When you restart the video, I will discuss the scenario. In this scenario, Susan exemplified Standard 61 by contributing to a practice environment that promoted respect by educating her colleague on harm reduction in a respectful manner. Susan also exemplified Standard 65 when she demonstrated understanding of issues facing a homeless client and clients with substance use disorders. Now that you have an understanding of the leadership standards, you've completed the standards of practice and conduct component of this module. Please move on to the next unit to learn more about the other documents in the CLPNM regulatory framework. If you have any questions about this unit, or if you have any other questions about practical nursing practice, please contact the CLPNM for more information.